I was able to try 5 different lights from Eufy, and if you have even one of their cameras, there are some big reasons to look at these smart lights.
I love these. These are cute.
So today I'm going to show you the 5 lights, how I've used them around my home, and what those big benefits are. Let's give her. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and my goal on the channel is to save you time and money on your journey to live smarter. These lights are pretty new releases, and that's why we're covering them. But one of the things that I've been so impressed with is the thoughtfulness behind a lot of these designs and some of the ways that their products work together. For those of you looking for deals on any of this, you can go to Eufy's official website, or if you're an Amazon Prime member, you're gonna get pretty good product discounts all the way up through the Christmas season. Check out the details down below, but for example, the E22 permanent outdoor lights have $100 off right now. Let's start with an introduction of each of these lights so you can see what each one is about. People around my home often spend upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 on permanent outdoor lights, and honestly, they don't look that nice most of the time. I think we can do better, and that's why Eufy's first product that I want to talk about are the permanent outdoor lights. The box I received has over 100 feet of lights, and you get a single light every 20 inches with 10 lights per cable length. Now, there are 6 cable lengths in the box, and you can connect 1 or all the way up to 6 depending on how many lights you want and how far around your home you want to go. Eufy has given us extension cables that you can put in different parts of your setup. So not only can you do a run of lights, but you can kind of split things up using this extension cable. So you're going to be able to make this fit your home. Each light provides a maximum of 91 lumens, and each one of those is RGB WW, which means they can reproduce 16 million colors with the RGB LEDs, and they have a 1500 to 9000 Kelvin color temperature range when it comes to those whites. Eufy calls this triple LED design Wondershine, and it's really neat seeing the 3 independent LEDs be so big when you take a look in there. Installation was very easy. You're gonna get everything you need in the box. So you have those extension cable lengths, the 6 LED strips, the adapter and plug, all the connection pieces, some extra adhesive stickers, and all of the screws and anchor mounts for each one of these lights. Now, Eufy already put adhesives on the back of every light, and you can decide to just use those or make this a true permanent install with those screws and anchor mounts. Either way, other than getting up on a ladder and doing a little measuring, at least you're gonna have a record if I fall to my death. Prior to getting up there, this was a simple, easy install. And we'll talk about some of the consistencies that has been built into all of these products in a little bit, so hang on. But let's go to Eufy's outdoor string lights. These are very lightweight string lights that can be installed in a number of situations. A lot of people are gonna wanna put them over their heads on a patio, but you can mount these to a fence, mount them on a wall with the included screws, or even put them around things like trees or poles or whatever else your little heart dreams up. Each bulb has 3 feet of cable between it and the next, and you can choose to use either the full 30 bulbs in the pack or just use 15. Each bulb provides 64 lumens, and they have that triple LED design. The huge range of color temperatures, and of course the 16 million colors. Now, what I found so different about these from other models that I've used in the past is how light and easy they are to work with. The cable apparently has the ability to withstand 1000 bends because of the way it's been built. The lights themselves have a different look to them. Eufy calls this a central conical shape. It diffuses the light out from the center throughout the entirety of the fixture. It just looks neat, and this is on top of a really thoughtful approach to the exterior of each bulb. Not only are they light, and I don't think they're gonna break unless you're really smashing them against something. It's a matte finish on the outside, so they're not reflecting light from the outside off of the surface of the bulb, and therefore hiding lots of what's going on inside. This became really apparent to me as I was taking video of them, and it's something I appreciate as a creator, but you will appreciate looking at them a little more than the average bulb. Now for me, my favorite use of these was to turn on what they call light show in the app. After I pick a theme or I tell their AI to build me an effect, I can basically have these roll forever through AI generated versions of a similar effect with the same colors. I'll show you that more later in the video, but I ended up putting these in my backyard because they're going to be a great light source for when I'm going between my garage and my home over the winter. The outdoor pathway lights are my personal favorite. I think that's because each one of them packs 350 lumens and they can be used to really light up a pathway.
Look at how bright those are.
Plus, with some of the features that you get when you combine these with Eufy's cameras, you can really welcome or deter people from coming up to your home.
They did it. Yes. So that was right there.
I also like how tall they are and the construction of these. It's a simple stake that goes into the ground and it's fairly easy to hide cabling. The install takes seconds and there's good cable distance between each light. Plus, if you wanted to, I'm sure you could get more distance with some extension cables. I really like the fact that these have a good high quality aluminum on the base. Then you get a section of light, a little more aluminum, and then a cap that shows you that light color again as you're looking down as you walk by. They're just nice to look at and they're gonna last a long time. So these were one of my favorites with the 80 plus effects that are pre-created for you in the app. And as you see the 4 lights all changing color and cycling through those colors as you're coming up to your home, it's really nice. With 500 lumens per spotlight and a really nice glass cover with some built-in diffusing, I think a lot of people are going to find good use in highlighting plants or feature walls or other major features outside of their house. Now for me, I used one of these to highlight my kid's pumpkin that he carved, as well as just the other side of the wall of my home. In the future, I'm going to be able to place these around my trees or bushes that I add to the front of our house, and I think that's going to make those look really nice. So I got a future plan here. Again, we have aluminum as part of the design and they come with an extension pole that lets you put them up a little higher or a little lower to the ground depending on what you want to do. It was a quick install with the included stakes. Easy. And again, we have good cable lengths between these, so you can place them probably wherever you want to. And finally, this is the floor lamp. It's the only indoor product that we're going to talk about, and you'll see very soon how some of the automation options that you have with these lights make this a very useful addition to you personally. It has a hexagon-shaped base that's very heavy, and it'll keep this stable even if someone pushes on the lamp. It gives it a very modern look, and that's in conjunction with the metal that is used throughout the entirety of the stick portion. The LED strip itself is enclosed in silicone, and that provides diffusion for the lighting. That's important because this lamp provides up to 1700 lumens of light over a 130 degree area. The diffusion hides a little bit of the tech that's buried in this, as they give us a number of segments that can have individual colors on them. It's a very nice looking light, and I say that having used quite a few of this style of lamp. Now, if you want more information on each individual product, we have unboxing videos over on our second channel. Some of those could still be coming because we got editing to do, but you'll find all the links to those in the description below. Those videos will have a full breakdown on the specifications as well as additional information when it comes to setup, install, and features. But there are some special things that are common to each one of these lights from Eufy. So let's talk about that. I'm going to show you in just a little bit how to use all the features, but Eufy has given us access to over 80 different pre-created effects for each of these lights. It's a consistent set, and you can modify how those effects look inside of the app. They've also given us essentially unlimited effects that we can generate through their included AI. And you can either provide text-based instructions to that AI, or you can roll something called the magic dice. And one note about these lights and the AI effects is that they're using a cloud service. So these do have to maintain connectivity to your Wi-Fi and the internet in order to start those effects. Not everything, just those. And that's because all of the lights have Bluetooth connectivity as well as Wi-Fi at 2.4 gigahertz. So they are partially local when it comes to control, but it's just that AI stuff you might have a concern with if the internet goes down. Now, all of the lights have this triple RGBWW LED design that Eufy calls Wondershine. The LEDs are really big and they're neat to look at inside of each one of these fixtures. You'll clearly see the RGB LED as it's usually the bigger one, and then you have two white LEDs. What's interesting about those versus many other makers is that you have a 1500 Kelvin white LED and then a 9000 Kelvin white LED. That gives you a huge range of color temperatures on all these lights. The brightness of each one of these products is really interesting to both get as a specification, as most makers don't tell you what the individual light provides, but from an overall standpoint, these are all providing really good lighting. Now, I know we're all here for the special features we get, but when we're buying smart products like this and we're talking about permanent installs, we got to talk about longevity. And that's what I think is the most important. In order to achieve longevity, Eufy has to use the right materials, as well as balance a few other things. I was impressed with the usage of aluminum where it was appropriate. I like all the weatherproof ratings on the outdoor gear, as well as the temperature ratings for most homes in North America. I probably won't turn on my outdoor lights when it hits minus 40 Celsius outside, but other than that, I'm not worried about how these are going to survive the Canadian winter. There are UV coatings or UV resistance built into all of the products, so they're not really going to fade over time or look ugly. At least they shouldn't. I can't tell you that for sure because I just got them. But the other thing that's really important from a longevity standpoint is how the electrical system has been done. The adapters have good ratings on them for the most part. All of the connection points have good seals on them. And there are lots of connection points for a lot of good reasons. The permanent outdoor lights are the best example of this, as you get 6 different LED strings, but you could use any number of them. Now, each lighting element is also really well designed from my perspective. I love the dual element look of the pathway lights, and the string lights have that really unique look to their bulbs. All of this is designed with a little bit of extra thought, but there's one big feature that makes this almost a requirement if you have Eufy cameras around your home or you're considering adding those.
Oh man, those are bright. I mean, I'm not complaining, but whoa. You gotta love that. Oh, they did it. Yes. So that was right there. See that camera right there? It saw me and it triggered that automation. So it changed us to a Halloween theme. Now, when I add those other lights, this is gonna get even better.
One of the most annoying things about security cameras is that they are often too slow to run an automation off of, and then still have it affect people. But you saw right there, as I was coming up to my home, that it triggered an automation and changed the effect to Halloween. Before we get ahead of ourselves, you have to have the following cameras from Eufy. You have to make sure notifications and people detection features are turned on, and then those can be used to trigger these automations. You create the automations inside of the Eufy Life app. It doesn't affect how your cameras do anything from a security standpoint, and it actually doesn't affect the Eufy security app at all. So let's see how to do that. You'll see some of the features that you get, and you'll see that it solves 3 major problems with smart lighting. The first thing you have to know is that your Eufy security app has to be logged into with the same username and password. Once you have that, you can log in to the Eufy Life app. And if you've added your Eufy Life lights into there, then we can create this automation in the Lumino link section of the app. And what you do is you hit add interactive scene. So right now I want to set up a automation to know if someone's in the backyard of my home. If a device detects human, here are my 2 Eufy cameras. So this is the garage one. This is out towards my garage, which is in the backyard. And I hit confirm. I could hit both of those if I wanted to. Then we want to turn on some devices. Now I'm going to use the indoor lamp. That's going to be a useful thing for me to be able to see. And I'm going to use my Eufy outdoor string lights E10. These are going to both showcase or turn on. What's really neat about this kind of an automation is we can choose diverse. So that means they don't have to have the same effect applied. So now for my indoor lamp, I don't want to kind of blow myself away here with really bright light. I want to just know that it's in the backyard. I could use pre-created scenes. So if I wanted to use that one, I can do that. There's some daily scenes, and then there's all these ambient ones. So I'm just gonna choose warm, and that's because it's a kind of an orange-red effect, and I'm going to turn that on. I can choose the brightness of that. So let's say I want to turn that on at 100% so I see the light coming on. And then my outdoor string lights, well, these actually light up the area. So I'm going to choose just the white color. I'm going to put them at 100% brightness. And now I can set date and time activations. Now, the date thing is really interesting because sure, you could do it on a weekly cycle. This is very normal for apps and automations, but what's different is I can set an actual time period. So if I only want these effects to go on for the next month, I can set that just like that. Hit save. Now this is only going to happen for the next month. Now I don't want that. I want this to be 100% of the time, but I can also set a time period. So let's say I only want to know if someone's in the backyard from sunset to sunrise. Then I want those lights to turn on. Now I've done that, and now I can set a duration. So this is how long the lights will remain in this state that we've set. Then they're going to revert back to the original or the previous state they were in. So let's say we just want 3 minutes to let the people go by, and we'll have the backyard lights turn off. So that's the whole automation. It's all set up, and this is going to work for the next month, basically through sunset to sunrise for 3 minutes, and I can change those things anytime I'd like or create additional automations that happen during the day. Before I showed you how to do that, I said this solves 3 major problems with smart lighting. One of the problems is that for every season, you gotta go in, you gotta adjust what effect is being displayed. For the next few days, you might want to have a Halloween effect, but then after that, you probably wanna switch to Christmas. And then after that, you probably wanna switch to something like New Year's or maybe winter-like. Well, because we have both a time period and a date period in each automation, you just have to set these up a single time, and then you'll be set over the entire year and following years. Even better, if you adjust the time period in each automation, you can display different effects at different parts of the night. So you're not just going to have the same effect constantly. Another problem that you have with these kinds of effect lights is that you can't get your lighting to go back to the previous state it was in, not without extra automations. Now, the duration setting inside of these, that actually means that for a prescribed time, it will run the effect you want it to, and then it will return back. So if you're wanting to just run an effect for that little time, you can, and then your pathway lights will return back to that state of lighting up the space. There's a third problem that these solve. This lets you use your lights as security. I think a lot of people have probably set this up in different systems, and I'll probably hear about that in the comments, but one of my neighbors were having a heated discussion as they were walking by my home. Then the camera saw them, and it triggered one of the automations and the effects. It stopped them dead in their tracks, or at least it stopped the heated discussion, because they knew my home had recognized that they were passing by. This is a great deterrent for anyone coming up to your home. And it's common knowledge in the security industry that the sign that you place out there for your security system is often the biggest deterrent. So this is very similar to that. I don't want you guys thinking that everything's perfect, and I want you to understand what things might bother some of you with Eufy's lighting. You know, the app is not perfect. This is the Eufy Life app. I'm going to show you a full walkthrough here coming up. But right now you'll notice they all say that things are offline. Well, I turned off the internet connectivity to my home. The one that is still working, right there, the indoor floor lamp is connected through Bluetooth. So one of the good things is that if you're within range of the device, you can still control it with the internet out. But my Wi-Fi system is still on, and these are all showing offline. So you won't have control of these products if the internet goes offline, unless you're really close to them. And honestly, the control's pretty good. But you won't have access to the AI features if you don't have internet access. And just from a physical standpoint, many of these units look like they could be extended. The cabling's done in a way that makes you think expansion sets will be sold. You can't with the string lights nor the pathway lights any further than the 4 you get, and of course not the floor lamp, but you will be able to extend the permanent outdoor lights to have up to 9 light strips there. And with the spotlights, you will be able to get a maximum of 4 lights, just like the pathway ones. Those expansion sets should be sold in mid-November. They're not quite there yet today. You know, even with these, they're only available in white, which is a problem for me because I have a brown soffit on my home. Might not be a problem for you, but it's just a little bit of a developing product line in terms of the accessories and the extras that you can get, maybe some of the different options. This is the Eufy Life app. This is where you're going to control their lights from. You can tap into each individual light to get some control of that. And then there's a scheduling section and what's called Lumino Link. We'll get to those here in a little bit, but just for every single light that you have, you can go into that light, you can turn it on or off. So there it's off, and there it's back on, and I can set the brightness. You will notice that this little effect right here, this actually mimics what's going on outside. So that's kind of neat. So that's the basic control of your lights. Now let's go through some of the AI features because we are in the AI tab. There's the scene advisor down here. I can pick any of those and that will switch my lights. This requires connectivity to the internet. So they just basically connected a cloud service, and then up here it said, hey, this is what we're making for you. I can also refresh this list. So you see, I just got 6 more. 6 more, 6 more. And the last AI feature is I can just type in what I want this to do for me. So I'll type in Spider-Man, hit generate, and now it's creating an effect. And again, you can see actually on the lights here what that effect is looking like as we go. The other thing you can do here, you can hit edit, you can see the current effect colors, and you can adjust the speed and then hit confirm. So that's gonna make this whole effect faster because I changed it that way. And then if you like this effect and you wanna keep it, okay, let's call this Spider-Man. So I just hit the little save button and now it's over here in my personal effects, only for this light, but we'll get to that. Now, the other thing you can do is something called light show. Okay, so I just turned light show mode off and now I turned it back on. Light show mode basically makes it go forever with slightly different effects. It keeps it interesting. I really like that option here on the AI side of things. It just changes things up, makes it a little bit random, but still uses those theme colors that you saw. The other thing you could do is just called the magic dice, and the magic dice, you can see it's giving you, hey, that's what it's going to look like. It gives you a little description and you're just kind of rolling the dice. So those are the AI features. The other features you'll want to have a look at. This is a pretty incredible list. So here I'm going to change to Halloween. Let's say I didn't like this effect or I wanted it to be a little different. Well, I can go in, I can edit, and once I've made the adjustments, I can hit save or I can hit restore the default. There are a number of categories here. So seasons, events, emotions, just in case you're feeling a little emotional, healing, flags, there's a section for children, and there's a section for weather. And of course, every time you can edit those effects. Now, there are some daily effects. These are just your warm white, your cool white, and your white. Now, with these lights, these are actually kind of running, like I think that's 2800 Kelvin, and I think that's 6500 Kelvin. I might have the numbers a little wrong, but they have a wider range than that, and that's what the personal side of things is for. So I can select all the lights, color, temperature, and then I can go all the way to the bottom, and now I've put that 1500 Kelvin into this. Of course, you could save this as a personal favorite if you'd like. And, I think the other thing that you can do that's really interesting is I can pick a color and then I can put it into individual lights. So you can create your own effect here quite easily. And then when you've kind of selected, oh, I'm having a little trouble there, I go down to dynamic, and now I can say cycle, and I can choose the speed. So you can pick the effect. And again, at the end of this, if you really like this effect, you hit save. Each light has its own settings. They all look fairly similar. Some of these will have a length that you can actually just change this by turning it back on if you've connected additional lights or taken lights away. If you want to, in some cases, disable some of the lights, so maybe you just don't want certain ones to come on, you can do that. Nice little additional option for these string lights. You can also set the installation space, which will help you with group control. Okay, so I've put these in the backyard, and when you hit next, you can say, hey, this is where they're installed. Then there's the general section, which shows you the mounting guide, a little bit about the device. You can change the name if you'd like, and change the Wi-Fi connectivity. Plus, you can check your firmware. The last thing you'll want is the music flow. This is running based off of the microphone on your phone. So there's no microphone physically on these products. That's something to understand. But then you can basically set the brightness, and you can set the speed, and you hit play. And when the phone's microphone detects any music, they synchronize the lights. So there you go. That's kind of the walkthrough for the basic controls of these lights. But we showed you how to create a Luminode link automation earlier in the video, but now you can create just basic schedules. So again, this allows you to set the date. So you can set a date period if you'd like, if you only want to run things kind of for the month of November. Then you can set the time period. So this is when the lights are going to turn on to the state that you're putting them in. So a lot of people are going to want to go, sunrise or sunset to sunrise. And then you can select the different devices that you want to turn on. The nice thing about this mode is, again, we can have them all go to the same effect and the same brightness, or we can set this in a diverse way. Each one can have their own individual effect. So if I want this one to do Halloween 1, I can hit save and I can adjust that brightness. Let's say those are too bright, I want to keep them low. Same with the spotlights. Let's say I'm going to do Halloween 2 on those, and we're going to go to 57%, but I want my pathway to stay really bright when people come up to it. So I'm going to leave that on warm white, and we're going to leave that at 100% brightness. So this gives you real full control over a scheduled period. You just have to put in a schedule name, hit save, and then it will be here. So you can see over here, I've moved to the customize tab. They have a daily light shuffle, so it'll just shuffle your lights through different effects. But you can see I've also turned on just some basic light settings. I want these to all turn on to about 30% brightness every day, sunrise till 9 p.m. around here, just to give some basic light out there. I've already shown you how you can use Eufy's cameras to turn on your lighting based on someone coming up to your home, and that's probably the primary automation that you're going to use with these. However, if you combine some of those features that I just showed you in the previous section with some of the other platforms that you have access to with Eufy's lights, you could potentially make some other automations that are useful to you. Because the Eufy Life app doesn't have a lot of motion sensors or other sensor triggers, and because a lot of people won't have those devices, you're going to want to use some of those other integrations. Now, all of Eufy's lightings can go into Google Home and Amazon, and you'll find fairly basic controls of power, brightness, and color or color temperature. That doesn't give you access to all of those fancy scenes and all the generative AI effects, which is a little unfortunate, but kind of standard for the industry. But there is a way around this. It just takes a little bit of understanding of how these lights work. When you control the light inside of the Eufy Life app, you're able to set any of those scene effects, the AI effects, or even personal effects that you make. Then from that point forward, all you have to do is turn the light on and off from whichever platform, and it will use the same effect. Now, I wish this would work personally with the scheduling inside of Eufy Life's app, but it doesn't today. So that's one of the limitations. From the point where you turn on the light for just a second with the effect or the scene you want, you can then use things like outdoor motion sensors to trigger on your lights. Or in the case of the floor lamp, maybe you'll want to use things like contact sensors when you come in the room. These are simple automations to create, and you can create them in Amazon or Google's app. So from an overall perspective, I've been really impressed with the physical quality of these lights from Eufy, as well as the AI features. And of course, that camera integration, I think that makes this lighting system almost required for those of you who have those cameras. So you can check out all of the links down below to all of these products from Eufy. But if you're still a little unsure if these are gonna fit you, you can check out some of the top lights and our reviews of those smart lights in the playlist that's on screen now. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.